Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I have been itching to use these gorgeous laser cut elements and today is finally the day, but we are having a surprise in the center of the card. But first of all, the laser cut elements. Now, I believe these used to come in a packet with the papers, but they have separated them out now and you can buy these separately. There are 4 sheets in here and each sheet is 6 by 12 inches. So massive, they're big and you get lots and lots. You get 80 elements, 80 little bits and pieces that you can pop out. I am also going to use 2 of these paper pads. That's my color scheme that I'm kind of thinking at the moment. So that was what I was sort of browsing through, looking, and I think I can make all of these things work in nicely with that color scheme as well. Now, here are the 4 pages. I have been so excited to use these. These are gorgeous. I have not really come across these, or purchased these, should I say, before, but I like die cutting, but I don't love the white border around die cuts. So I was looking for alternatives and other bits and pieces, and I saw these ones, and I love that they have no white edges. They are cut right on the color, and they just pop out. These are like a cardstock, I would say. They're not a chipboard, they're not that thick, but they're definitely not that flimsy either, although some of the elements are pretty delicate, but I don't mind that at all. I quite like it. So I'm going to pick out some elements that I want to use on my card today, and I'm making it up as I go. I didn't have a plan at all. I am going to choose out some of the flowers. I'm going to choose a frame. There are gorgeous bows and paper bows. There are lots of different leaves. There's lots of different little paper elements. There's sentiments, there's butterflies, there's script, word scripts. There are those gorgeous big lace elements as well that you can add. I'm going to add a little bit of all of this. There are postage stamps, and honestly, when I first got this, my little head was spinning with ideas, and so finally I have been able to open these up. I actually got a couple of different packets of these. I got the one called, I think it's called Countryside. I've already released one of those videos, but these are just things that you can throw together really easy. You know that the colors coordinate, you know that the elements coordinate. It just makes life really, really easy when it comes to putting things together, which is helpful for me when I can take away one of those thinking elements. So I have all these bits and pieces sort of ready to go. I have the Roses paper pad here. This one is from scrapbook.com. But I'm just sort of picking out my colors, sort of making sure I'm on the right track. And I think I want to use this really light one and then the slightly sort of medium pink color. And then I was deciding how I wanted these to be on the front. Like, did I want to do a half and half situation? Did I want to do it on a diagonal half and half? How did I want this? And this is where I was testing out lots of different things. And this is what I do. I don't always include this in the videos because obviously this part takes me some time sometimes. And it's really just me playing with what I want to do. But I definitely do it. Just know that that's usually done behind the scenes and I just clip it out because I have the ability to edit these videos so that you don't get too bored, hopefully. So I have my card base here. Now I'm using this one on purpose because it actually has a splotch of ink on the front. But knowing that we're going to cover that, I'm okay, we can use it. So this is where I'm going to do sort of 2 parts here. Now I have a separate card front here, and I'm going to cut just a slither of this off, just a tiny little bit, because this is going to be adhered into the center of the card later on. So I'm just getting all my elements ready. Now this is a gorgeous font die set. Now one of my subscribers sent this to me maybe more than a year ago, months and months and months ago. So I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but I am grateful and have loved this one and I'm going to use it again today. But thank you so much for sending me these. Now also I'm going to use some Stick It double-sided adhesive on these letters because they are pretty delicate and it just makes life a lot easier when it comes to adhering them down how we are going to need to soon. So here's the trick though, when I'm die cutting out these letters, I'm going to have the Stick It on one side, which is fine. I didn't even put the Stick It down perfectly. There's some little lumps and bumps, but that's okay too. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine once with just the normal way, like you would die cut it, so the sticker is on the back. And I just have a Big Shot die cutting machine, and that works perfectly for me. I used the Cuttlebug for years and years and years, and then not too long ago, maybe a year ago, I can't remember, but I had to switch. I broke my Cuttlebug finally, which was devastating, but that's okay. I found one of these on special on clearance, and we were away laughing again. So I have run this through the normal way once, and then I'm also going to turn this up the other way, so the sticker is now facing upwards, and die cut it one time through like this as well. And this means that when we stick down these letters onto some acetate, we are going to be able to cover the back nicely too, just so we give that finished card look. Now these are the acetate panels that I use. These are from Hero Arts, and you can actually see on the printing there on the front, it says works well with metal die cut. So this is, I know often people run acetate through and they cannot cut. It doesn't cut well with dies. But this one, the Hero Arts one, is the one that I use because it cuts beautifully. Now I'm actually not die cutting it today, but that's just a little side note. I am going to score my acetate to create a right angle, I guess. So I am just going to get about 1 inch and score 1 inch in, and then I'm going to bend it and sort of get it into place. I know this is all a little bit hard to see because it's acetate, but I just really want that little sort of 90-degree angle there of the acetate, and that's going to sit perfectly because acetate is quite hard to fold sometimes, and so this works really well. I don't need all that extra acetate, and I may as well use it for a different project, so I cut off a little bit as well. Now this card is going to be a welcome baby girl card. So I have the words girl, or the word girl, G-I-R-L, cut out, and I am going to pop those down the side. Now this is the surprise that is going to be in the middle of the card. When they open it, it's going to have this sort of clear floating word, I guess, in the middle, floating letters that will be in the center of our card. So all I have to do is peel off the sticker adhesive, the backing, and then I'm just going to line these up as even as I can, going from top to bottom, obviously. And then I have the other one, the other side of the G. We'll do all of those in just a second, but remember how we did the second row of die cutting where the sticker was facing up. So I know that some people like the backs to be nice and finished and nice and kind of clean. It's not as bad using when you use a double-sided adhesive that covers the entire backing of the letter. Because I use the stickered adhesive, you can't see sort of bits of adhesive from the back, so it actually doesn't look too bad. But if you're going to use more solid letters and you're just going to add a little, cut off a little piece of double-sided tape and pop that on the back, you might want to do the reverse cutting as well, and then that way you can sandwich them together and no one will be able to see the adhesive from the back. So as I said, using the whole sheets of double-sided adhesive, or the stick-it, is a really easy way to make sure that you can't see the adhesive, but if you like that finished look, then you can do this anyhow. I am using this little pick here to get these little bits and pieces out. This is the Kaisercraft tool. It's only a couple of dollars, and a friend gifted this to me, and it is absolutely one of the best tools. You will see it in every single video because I love it. It helps me with all the things. But there we go. We have our acetate window pretty much ready to go. I just need to get the other couple of letters on. Make sure I've got the little dot to the eye. Don't lose that. And as I said, that little tool helps me pick off the back of that stickered adhesive perfectly. It also helps me lift up these little bits of double-sided tape, and I decided to go with this color as sort of a base on my front of my card. Now you didn't miss it, I haven't put the surprise in the center just yet, but I'm just going to put together some of these elements. Now sometimes I find the best way for me to work is to not think about it too much. By all means, have a play and figure it out, but I find personally that the longer I keep on sort of playing around, often nothing ends up looking right. So at some point, I just sort of end up committing, and you see right there, I just had the moment where I was like, right, I'll just put it down and we'll figure it out as we go, because I know all of these elements go together, so I know I can make this work somehow. So I'm putting down my frame first, and then going to cut this little bit of lace, so it is going to fit from top to bottom of my little card front there. Also, another side note, a real piece of lace here would look stunning. A piece of fabric in here would look absolutely gorgeous, but I'm just using these laser elements and I'm happy as. I'm using some liquid glue. This is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish, and this is what's going to hold everything down. I know that this is a really strong glue, so it's going to stay in place. I picked out a couple of extra leafy elements just to give it a bit more oomph and kind of a bit more than what these flowers already had around them. I'm going to put them up on a little bit of foam tape, and this gives me a little bit more dimension because everything is pretty similar colors and looks gorgeous, but a little bit of dimension goes a long way here. I've got a couple of these little flowers, one sort of bigger one little one. The liquid glue also gives me a minute to move things around a little bit if I think they, I didn't put them in exactly the right place. And then I pop the other little one up on some foam tape. I love that gorgeous little postage stamp, and I think it just adds something to that top right hand corner. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add in this little label. I think that would have looked cute, but the white on it was just a little bit bright white, and so I thought I would leave that off for the minute. I put the little postage stamp up the top, and then there's these sweet little butterflies, and it just makes my heart happy that these have no white around them. I really, really like this. So I'm playing with a couple of them. I had 3, but ended up just 2 is going to be perfect, and they're sort of fluttering around that little postage stamp in the top right hand corner. And then this was me going to call it done. I am happy with the front. There's plenty going on, but I did forget one thing, which I will remember right at the very end. Then I had this excess little bit of leaf here from the previous bit that I had cut. And waste not, want not, we may as well pop it in. So I just sneak it down the bottom, and then we have a gorgeous little sort of bouquet of flowers with a little bit of interest going on in the background too. Now it is time to finish off the inside of our card for that little surprise. I wanted to make sure I had everything on the front and I was pretty happy with it before I sort of committed to the inside here. So remember, we have that panel that we used that I cut just a fraction off, so that is going to go in the inside to cover up the other side of the acetate sheet, just making sure it fits perfectly. Then on my acetate sheet, I'm going to put on that little sort of extra flap some double-sided tape. You want some really strong tape because we definitely don't want this going anywhere. I put this on the front and the back just to be extra sure. Then I just take off one side of the tape at a time, and I'm going to line this up with the center of the card. So I know that everything fits. I've double checked, I've had a look, I'm double checking again, and then I take off the release paper and I line this up, making sure that the writing is obviously the right way. Pop it on one side, and then I can take off the other side here. Now if I was smart, I probably would have added some tape to the back there, but you can see at the moment I can move this around because it hasn't got tape. So anyhow, I can come back and fix that. So I add a bit more tape in over here. I could have used liquid glue as well, but I never like using too much liquid glue because I don't want to risk warping the paper either. This paper is a 110 pound cardstock, so it's not going to warp very easily, but I also don't want to risk it at this point when I've put this much effort into the card. So those two pieces are adhered down nicely, and we are almost finished our card. I did forget that this needed its gorgeous little welcome baby on the front. But you can see that lovely surprise when they open the card and it says welcome baby girl. I just think this is something a little bit extra. You can of course have any word going down the middle. You could have someone's name floating in the middle. You could have even just any pictures, any extra pictures or images would be lovely. All sorts of fun things that you can have floating in the center. Now this is one of the frame sets. I purchased this one on clearance and it is still available. It used to look like this, except for I popped all of these out and just kept them in the little bag just to keep them all together. This is the It's a Girl chipboard frames. So it's, and inside of that one it had the little welcome baby, and it just happened to be, you know, the same kind of pinks. It coordinated nicely. So I'm going to pop this little frame in here, and this just goes with the welcome baby girl. And then that is my card all finished for today. So I hope you have enjoyed this little card with the laser cut elements and a surprise on the inside. Links to all of the products used in today's video will be listed down below. I also have a Facebook group if you'd like to come and join that and show us your creations. I also have a snail mail address, which I love, and I appreciate the time that you take to send me your cards. I also have a link to the Buy Me a Coffee page. If you would like to support my channel and support the videos that I create, then that is a place where you can do that. But other than that, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!